Yeah, yeah, yeah. They making new laws every day, and those of the master they throw away. The things they go about and preach, it's not what they teach, and no one seems to care. The whole world lives in fear, just despair everywhere.
Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah, ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. In the name of Allah, most gracious and most merciful, in the name of the Almighty God, the Beneficent and the Merciful, we give praise and thanks to God for bringing us together, and we ask for mercy and forgiveness for whatever we might have done that is not right in His sight. I greet my Christian brothers and sisters with the greetings of peace. Peace be unto you. I greet my Hindu brothers and sisters with the greetings of peace. Namaste. I greet my Rastafarian brothers and sisters with the greetings of peace, Jah peace and Jah love. And I greet my Muslim brothers and sisters with the greetings of peace in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum, which includes all other denominations. I want to today observe something that we don't really observe in Islam, or we are not directed to observe in Islam, and that is Father's Day. It is mostly coming from a Christian standpoint, and like I said, it's the same for Mother's Day, because we have not been directed by the Bible, by the Bhagavad Gita, neither by the Quran, by none of our main religions have we, our religious books, have we been directed to celebrate Mother's Day or Father's Day. Those who have ordained that Father's Day be observed may be of the opinion that they are doing a good. But many times people feel that they are doing good, and in reality it is something that becomes very confusing. Father's Day and Mother's Day are days where it can be very detrimental to families and to children. There are those children who do not have fathers. There are those children whose fathers have abandoned them. There are those children whose fathers have refused to acknowledge them. And then there are those single parents, those mothers who have got to bring up their children without the help of a father. So it's very confusing. And then there are those mothers who speak bad to their children about their fathers. And you know, these things happen. And so it is a bit confusing when we think about the ordained celebration of Father's Day. But in any case, the Holy Bible says, honor thy mother and thy father, so that thy days may be long in the land that the Lord thy God giveth thee. It's a very significant saying, honor thy mother and thy father. God tells us too that we must, in the Quran, that we must obey our parents. But if they try to make us do those things that are not right, then we should not obey them. But in all the religions, in the Hindu religions, the mother and father are also very significant. But in all our religions, we realize that it's never the mother alone or the father alone. It's always the parents. And what is worrying at times is that we don't have a Parents' Day. But we have a Mother's Day and we have a Father's Day. That is the intelligence of those who decided that they are doing good. But the fact that our scriptures have told us that we should honor our parents, then it is worthwhile acknowledging when there is Mother's Day or when there is Father's Day. But then we need to understand that even when it is Mother's Day, we should acknowledge our fathers. And when it's Father's Day, we should acknowledge our mothers, because they go together, even if they're separated. In order for me to be born, I have to have a mother and I have to have a father. In the Christian way of life, when Jesus was asked, how should we pray? He said, pray in this manner, our Father who art in heaven. And so we were told there by a member of the Almighty Fraternity, which is Jesus, that we should pray, our Father who art in heaven. What Jesus is telling us there, that is, our Father is in heaven. Our Father who art in heaven. We're speaking about Allah. We're speaking about an Almighty Father that is not here on earth, but is in heaven. This is very significant, because when we look at single parents, for example, we see women who have children and who have no fathers to look after the children. They are totally dependent on our Father who art in heaven. And so are we, those of us who have fathers, those children who have fathers and have mothers to look after them. They're still dependent upon our Father who art in heaven. So Father's Day should be recognized as our Father who art in heaven. Our earthly parents are much different to our Father who art in heaven. But in order to conclude the aspect of Father's Day, we have to look at the practical situation that we are facing. In our country right now, fathers are being warned for the simple reason that mothers have taken a different attitude. And they are saying, the mothers are saying, that the attitude that they have taken is because of the behavior of the fathers. But when we look at our educational system, we realize that everything that we know as grown-ups is due to how we are being trained. And in our society, young boys growing up are not trained to be fathers. We have a situation that we are facing, especially here in Guyana, where fathers are killing mothers. For every man is a father, and every woman is a mother. So even if you are not legally married according to the national concept of marriage, if you are living home or you have a girlfriend, as many have, if it is still a mother and father relationship. If you have a girlfriend, it's a mother and father relationship. If you don't have a child, it is still a mother and father relationship. If you have a child and you have a girlfriend and she has a child for you, in Islam we see them as wives. We are taught in Islam that whichever woman we are living with or having a sexual relation with, we are supposed to acknowledge her as a wife and not as a girlfriend. That does not exist in Islam. And the reason for that is because we are being forced in that manner to acknowledge her as a wife, even though we are not legally married but we are forced to, or it is ordained then, that we should acknowledge whichever woman we are having an affair with as a wife. And that is why in Islam the father or the man is allowed to have more than one wife, because he's not dealing with girlfriends. It means that once you're serious, if you want to have another woman in your life, then she has to be acknowledged as a wife. So when we hear about the killings of men killing women, it's fathers that are killing mothers. And it has become very prevalent. And one of the reasons for that, as I see it, is because boys are not being trained to be fathers. They do not know. They are not being trained to be fathers. They are not being trained to be husbands. There is no part of our educational system that is training young boys to be husbands or to be fathers. This whole thing about fathers and husbands is actually when the men are of age, or when they have already got married, or before marriage, the pastor or the priest or the imam or the pandit will explain the duties. Sometimes these duties are not explained until the day of the wedding, when the husband hears what his duty is to his wife, or when she hears what her duty is to her husband. Sometimes it's not until the day of marriage that they hear that, especially in our modern times. Years ago, when you decide to get married, then one has to take 2 weeks or a month of training where they visit the priest, or they visit the head of the church, or the head of the mosque, or the ashram, and they are being trained and advised as to how they're supposed to live with one another. But it would be good if the system is done in a manner where it begins from kindergarten, play school, up to secondary school, so that when a boy is going through school, he learns from very young, from a very young age, what it is to be a father, what it means to be a father, what it means to be a husband, and how to take care and look after a wife.
Man create his own monster, weapons of damnation and disaster, no sign at all of human rights. The day has turned into night. Is racialism so, and segregation so? Which way is left to go? I don't know. Oh Lord, tell me, what about love thy neighbor? Tell me, what about he ain't heavy, he's my brother? Nobody cares a damn anymore. All they got on their mind is war.
Many of our men have got just the concept that they have to work, they have to earn the money, and they are the head of the home, because that's what they know. They know nothing else, and they have learned nothing else. Neither have they been taught or trained in any other way to take the responsibility of being a father or of being a husband. But in acknowledging Father's Day, we must acknowledge all fathers. We must acknowledge our great-grandfathers. We must acknowledge our grandfathers. We must acknowledge our great-great-grandfathers. All of them are fathers. Usually when we hear about Father's Day, we think about the present-day father, my father, and we don't remember grandfather, my father's father, or my mother's father. They're all fathers. So on Father's Day, we need to take all those fathers into consideration in order to understand what is the true meaning of being a father. And around among all those fathers, grandfather, great-grandfather, present-day father, we still have our Father who art in heaven. Jesus had to have a reason why he decided to tell us to pray in that way. So we all have one Father, and that Father is the Father that many of us celebrate every day. So there is no special day for that Father that is in heaven. But we remember that Father every morning, every night, every evening. You know, like for example, right now is the month of Ramadan. The Muslims are fasting. And so the Father that we call Allah, we have to remember him, and there are many, many mosques that are praying through the night and worshiping and giving thanks and asking for help from that Father that is in heaven. There is the disrespect that has been implemented in our society for fathers. And mothers, especially those who have got to look after their own children as single parents, they lose respect for fathers. In fact, many women today have lost respect for men, generally, because of their attitude and their behavior as fathers and as husbands. The specific duties in the Quran, for example, there are specific duties that are given to the father, to the husband, to the man. There are also specific duties given in the Bible, and there are specific duties given in the Bhagavad Gita. So all our religions have given us specific duties as fathers that we need to perform, and as husbands that we need to understand. But many of these duties are being done today by mothers, by women. Many of the duties that have been ordained for men to do, women are doing it. And so what is happening is that there is a lack of respect, because the role that the man is supposed to be adhering to, the woman has reached the stage where she has got to do it. And it is her feeling that if she has got to take over the role of the husband or of the father in the home, then she sees no reason why she should obey any man. And so we have quite a lot of unruly, what we might call unruly women, but unruly because of circumstances. And the men who align themselves with unruly women and try to behave as if they can control, they are having problems, and these problems are ending in violence, where the men, the fathers, are killing the mothers. It is only because the roles have not been adhered to. In years gone by, the mother or the woman or the wife knew what her role was. I know that some feminists or some so-called liberated women will want to say, yeah, the role long ago was a role of subservience, but this time we are not being subservient because we realize that we're not getting anywhere with being subservient. But it has nothing to do with subservience. It has to do with the specific role of the family. The man has been ordained a specific role, and the woman has been ordained a specific role. And those two roles are conditioned in such a way that if they are carried out in the way it's supposed to be carried out, then we will have better children. Because if we compare the children of this era with the children of the era before, we will find that they were better children. They were more obedient children, they were more disciplined children, children who observed the role of the mother and observed the role of the father, wives who observed the role of their husbands, and husbands who observed the role of their wives. And in that way, the children were able to be disciplined in a specific manner. It is not that way today. So we find that, you know, even though we had, in years ago, there were men who had, let's take a tailor for example, or a shoemaker. Those were not men who used to earn a lot of money. There are men who were shoemakers and tailors, but they never sent their wives out to work. They did their tailoring and they did their shoemaking, and they had 5 and 6 children. But the mother used to be there in order to play her role, and her role was not only looking after the children, of their role to their father, of their behavior that they should contain when they are dealing with their father. Mothers, years ago, mothers, you'll never hear mothers speaking ill things to their children about their fathers. That's not the way it is today. So children have reached a stage where they don't respect their fathers. There's no respect. Today, where the situation is more respect for the mothers than respect for the fathers. And many times, what has also happened too is that we find mothers who are not letting their fathers or letting the fathers of the children know exactly what is happening, what is going on with the children. Mothers who hide the dirtiness of their children without the fathers knowing. And that is something that has been interfering with the whole generation that we are dealing with today. We have a generation today that, you know, they don't have any particular respect, not only for fathers and mothers, but they don't have respect for elders. They say what they want to say when elders are around. They speak what they want to speak, you know, and they have a way of, you know, when they speak, big man, big woman, you know, these kinds of expressions. Young boys who use foul language when elderly people are around without caring, and if you tell them anything, what happened, big man? You know, that's the kind of situation that we are facing. And it comes from the home where these children are brought up in, the environment, the attitude and the roles that they see at home. You know, if a boy is growing up and he sees that his mother speaks to his father in any way that she feels like speaking to him in a disrespectful manner, that boy will not respect his father, because he has heard that the father should be the head of the home. Now he doesn't know why the mother is speaking to his father in that way. He has no idea. But he realized every day that his father has less and less to say in the home. Then there are those children who grow up and see that the father is not providing for the home. All the money that's coming in is coming in from the mother. Some mothers who are working at night, some mothers who are doing security work, and the father is sometimes not even home at night when she is not home. But children growing up realizing that the father is not taking the responsibility of looking after his children, those children grow up disrespecting their father because of the role that he is not able to contain and administer. So we have a situation that continues to bother our society, and it's because the roles have changed. The roles of the mothers and the roles of the fathers. There are very few fathers and mothers who are adhering to the same roles. Mothers who leave their children and go to the United States of America and leave them with the father. Mothers who leave and go away to work and find somebody else. And then they divorce the father and the children are here. Fathers who leave to go outside because they find that life is supposed to be better. The grass is greener on the other side. And when they go there, they hitch up and they hook up with other mothers. And so the mother that they left here with the children, they have no time for her. There again, we have a situation where the children are observing these things. That's why it is important that when mothers and fathers are together, they need to stick together, regardless of what. It is important that once we decide to be mothers and fathers and have children, we must stick together. If we have $1, then we must split that dollar. When I talk about leaving and going to make $2, or I send my wife out to make $3 so that we could have more, it interferes with the relationship. Number one, with the relationship, it interferes with the role of the parents, it interferes with the relationship of the mother and father, and then it interferes with the relationship of the parents and their children. So the fathers who are allowing their wives to work and earn and keep the family going, many times their children, even though they talk nice to them and laugh with them, but they lose quite a lot of respect. Because the role of the father is to earn and to keep the home going. If you know you cannot do that, then cease from making children. But that is the role of the father, to keep the home and to keep the home going and to provide for the home and for the children. It is in a sad state that that is not the way it is completely today. But again, when we speak about Father's Day, and that is why God in his wisdom did not ordain a specific day for fathers or a specific day for mothers. Honor thy parents, obey thy parents, honor thy mother and thy father. And children, especially when they're talking about Father's Day and Mother's Day, children must understand that if they do not honor their parents, no good will come to them. There are no children on the face of this earth who has parents that they don't honor. And it regardless of what. Allah did not say you must honor your parents when they're good parents or when they behave good. He says honor them. He did not say love them. God never told us to love our parents. We are told in the Christian scriptures, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul. And thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Honor thy father and mother. Honor. To honor someone means to respect the role that they have. And children who do not respect the role of their parents, there is no way that they can see positive things on the face of this earth. regardless of what your parents are. Regardless of if your father is a drunkard and your mother is a prostitute. It doesn't matter. We have been told to honor them. And God knows why. God alone knows why He told us to honor our mothers and our fathers. And all children need to understand that. All children who refuse to honor their parents could never, ever have a positive life on the face of this earth. Look at all of them. Any one of them that you know that don't honor their father and their mother, check them out. You know, and God did not say honor your mother and not your father. He did not say honor your father and not your mother. He says you have to honor both of them. And to honor someone is to be respectful to the role that that person has. It's just like if the elderly people on the road, you stand up at the bus stop and there are two youths who are talking and cursing. Yeah? They're not honoring you, even though you are not their parents. You don't belong to them as parents or grandparents, but they don't honor. And today we don't have honor. That's the problem. We do not have honor. Our youths do not honor the older generation. Our youths are not honoring their parents. And so we are facing a generation that is revolutionizing the society with complete dishonor. And it is this dishonor that is corrupting the societies. This dishonor that has crime on the rise. Is this dishonor that has children on the street. It is this dishonor that has lies and confusion and, last but not least, corruption. A'udzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillah. 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 Our children are being taught in churches, in mosques, in ashrams about God, our Father who art in heaven. But it seems to me as if the teachings are going in one ear and coming out of the other ear. Mothers and fathers cannot today only teach by talking. Our parents of yesteryear used to not only train us as children by talking, but they trained us by acting as well. You know, the women's liberation movements today have incorporated a set of mothers who are defiant when it comes to the role of fathers. Like I said, it's not without reason that they're doing it, but then it is not conducive for the growth of the children. Women who feel to themselves that men are not supposed to tell them what to do. Men are not supposed to direct them as to what their duties are. And since we have that kind of situation, I'm not necessarily saying that women must allow themselves to be directed by men, but the man must be able to advise in the home. And if his advice is not qualified, if it's not regarded, if it's not respected, then we will have the situation that we have today, whereby young men and young women are not being properly trained to respect each other's role. We all have roles. If the woman did not have a role, then she would not be named or called woman. She's called woman because she has a role. Thanks very much for listening to me. May Allah bless you and guide you. And may those of you who are fasting and are keeping up this month of Ramadan, may you understand that Islam does not tell us about Father's Day. Neither does Islam tell us about Mother's Day. But Islam tells us to obey our parents. As-salam.
Negotiations breaking down is a whole big runaround. A lot of talk is what goes on, while the world is left to mourn. Starvation taking toll, weapons out of control. The atmosphere is cold, so cold. Tell me, what about love thy neighbor? Tell me, what about he ain't heavy, he's my brother. Nobody cares a damn anymore. All they got on their mind is war, war. Tell me, what about equal rights and justice? Tell me, what about peace and